So I'm coming to you from a baseball dugout in rural Idaho, and it's extremely hot, and I'm kind of worn out by the heat, and I'm out at this fiddle contest and general musician gathering in Weiser, Idaho, and it's really fun and I love it here. It's been pretty hard to find a time and place to make a video actually, because anytime you sit down somewhere here with an instrument, people end up coming and joining you and playing with you, which is usually really cute, but it's hard to make videos that way. And so it's also hard to find a point in the day when there's still enough light, but it's bearable to be sitting out in that light because it's so hot. And so I decided to make it in this dugout, and hopefully it'll have at least good acoustics. And I'm going to perform a song by Leadbelly, or Huddy Ledbetter. It's often been thought that his name is pronounced Hudie, but there was a recording once of him saying his own name in the middle of a song, and he said Huddy, so I'm going to go with that pronunciation. And he was one of my first folk music influences. I heard about him from a friend when I was in high school, and that friend listened to a lot of Delta blues music and turned me on to Leadbelly. And he was a blues singer and folk singer and composer from Louisiana. He was born in the 1880s and grew up poor and got into a lot of trouble with the law. He would go to jail a lot, usually for stabbing people, occasionally theft, but stabbing was his most common crime, and he even killed somebody once over a woman. And he would get out early usually by always playing music for the inmates and guards, and they would let him out on good behavior. And he had his first big musical break when he traveled with John Lomax, who's the father of Alan Lomax. And they would travel around doing recordings of folk musicians out in the southwestern United States. And he picked up a lot of new songs out there and new inspiration. But he and John had a falling out, and he had to figure out how to make it on his own as a musician after that. And he tried to make it in Harlem, playing in the clubs up there, but it wasn't really a good time. He didn't do that well up there. And in 1937, Life magazine published this article about him that was actually really, if you look at it now, it was written in 1937, and it's just shockingly racist and exploitative and sensationalist. And there's this picture of his hands playing guitar, and the caption under it says, "These same hands once killed a man. There's a loud truck going by." And he even got let out of prison once by writing a song for the governor, asking him to pardon him for his crimes. And the governor was a big fan of his music, and it actually worked. He pardoned him and let him out of prison that time. And he found his most success as a musician in the world of radical political folk singers. And Huddy didn't even really think of himself that much as a political activist songwriter. He just wrote songs about his life experience, which were about racism and poverty and the prison system, and that fit really well with the activist songs at the time, and they still are categorized in that same kind of genre. And a song that I figured out in high school when I was listening to Leadbelly a lot and only knew 3 chords on the guitar was Irene, Goodnight. So I'm going to perform that one for you. And I have developed my own version of it over the years, just getting different verses from songbooks and other recordings of other musicians doing it, and the original Lead Belly recording. And I always thought, so I would hear at jams or in the books people saying, "I'll see you in my dreams," but I always heard on the Lead Belly recording him saying, "I'll get you in my dreams," and I really liked that way of saying it, and people would often be kind of taken aback when I would sing it that way in a jam. But the other day I was re-listening to the Lead Belly recording, or a few of different recordings of him doing it, and it sounds like he's actually saying, "I guess you're in my dreams." And so since I have kind of different verses from what he does, or even the verses I do that are the same have kind of different wording, I was trying to decide if I want to do it a lot like how he originally did it, or try to do it close to how I've been doing it all these years. And so I think I'm going to do mostly my version that I've developed, but with a few of the things I noticed the other day when I went back and listened to a bunch of his recordings. Sometimes I live in a city, sometimes I live in a town, sometimes I take the great notion of jumping into the river and drown. Irene, good night. Thank you for listening. Stay hydrated.